the final day of the regular season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What's at stake? The number 2 seed with a win and a Rams loss tonight against the San Francisco 49ers. Hey everybody, I'm Tom McCarthy along with Tony Romo. We'll hear from Tracy Wolfson in just a little bit. Jim Nance is in COVID protocols. He'll be back next week and be healthy as well. All right, so Bruce Arians, what's at stake for his team today?
Well, it's a big one. First off, I miss you, Jim. We'll see you soon. Be healthy, big guy. But this is more important than people realize. I think getting home field advantage or staying a seat ahead is going to prove to be almost the difference this year because the fans are back. And if you have to go into Tampa and beat Tom Brady, good luck.
Big time. Pinions kickoff will go into the end zone. So Sam Darnold will lead his offense out onto the field. Sam Darnold and the rest of the quarterback crew for the Carolina Panthers have gotten banged around this year with sacks. They've been sacked 14 times the last 2 weeks, including 2 weeks ago against these Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, the interior, that defensive line really wreaked havoc last time, and that's what happened in Week 16. Carolina just got bullied up front on both sides of the ball, but Sam Darnold, right now today's got to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Don't hold on to it. The pressure's coming, the inside right here. This is going to push you in the pocket, get the ball out fast.
DJ Moore in motion. They hand it off to Hubbard. And Hubbard gets a couple of yards. Let's check in with Tracy Wolfson. Trace?
Tom, unlike last year, the Bucs dealing with health issues going into the postseason. We know about the wide receiver depth, running back depth, an issue as well. No Leonard Fournette, no Ronald Jones. And then on the defensive side of the ball, right out here now, there is no Levante David, no Shaquille Barrett, no JPP. But Bruce Arians does expect his first-team defense to be back next week for the first time since Week 1 of this season, Tom.
Yeah, what did Todd Bowles tell us this week? He said we're working on fundamentals. Even with these guys not out there, we're working on it as we prepare for the postseason. On second down, Darnold will throw. Passes deflected at the line of scrimmage, intended for Tremble.
Well, and that was a big point of emphasis after the Jets game where Tampa really got lucky to win that game. And that group right there you see, that offensive line, that's the biggest way this team can improve next year. We're going to talk a lot about the big picture stuff, but that's what they've got to improve upon, allocate resources there, because they just have not done that. They've done it on the defensive side of the ball, but not those guys up front.
Yeah, Matt Rule said objective number 1 was to revamp that defense, and they've been good. But they've got to deal with that defense, Tom Brady, here this afternoon. It's third down and 7. Zylstra, part of the bunch formation to the left. Darnold steps away from the pocket. He's hit, but DJ Moore makes the reception for a first down, and he's up close to the 49-yard line.
And what a block. Coming up the middle, Hubbard actually takes on Vita Vea right there. And Darnold stands in under pressure, and this is a great throw with people all around you. As you see Moore right there. I mean, watch right up the middle. That's your running back. Darnold resets his feet, and Moore beats Dean on the throw, but they're on the route.
Darnold last week started 9 for 9 against the Saints. He said, yeah, that would be perfect to try to do that again, but just to try to have some success each and every play. He's under pressure, and he avoids the pressure, and he's out of bounds after a gain of 5. Devin White pressured him out of the pocket. This Tampa Bay defensive line, it's a solid defensive line led by the birthday boy Ndamukong Suh. And also Vita Vea, who we mentioned already, signed a 4-year contract extension yesterday.
Well, that's such a great moment in your life right there for Vea. I know his family and everyone's so excited, but he's a huge difference for this team. And when he's playing the way he's playing, he's one of the most difficult interior guys to stop.
Hey, 23! Hey!
Tremble, the tight end in motion. Abdullah in the backfield. That's Robbie Anderson, who came in motion late. And Abdullah tries to break one tackle and does. And then is pushed back by Kevin Minter.
You know, we're going to talk about it as this game goes on. But Carolina, like big picture stuff, they just haven't been able to protect Sam Darnold, any of the quarterbacks. And you talked about the sacks earlier. Matt Rule knows it's going to be hard to win football games in the National Football League if your quarterback doesn't have time. I mean, look at the stuff today already. A play action, blocking everyone out, pressured right away, has to scramble.
50 sacks allowed, and it looks like the Buccaneers may have jumped. Tony Corrente is the referee. His last regular season game in the National Football League after 23 years as a ref. 24 years, excuse me.
That's a huge mistake. How did you possibly? Corrente's one of the best ones.
Defense. 5-yard penalty will create a first down.
As a quarterback, you had to build a lot of relationships with those guys.
Yeah, it's true. It's actually a great point. It's, you know what's funny is they love the game. Quarterbacks do. You see the head bob by the center gets these guys, and as soon as you do that, you touch them. They teach you to touch them right there really quickly as an offensive lineman. And that's a good job by Sam Darnold getting the cadence and the head bob. And that's what you need sometimes on the road, especially against the great D-line dying to come in there and get sacks, right?
Well, it's first down to the 41-yard line. Zylstra in motion. Abdullah in the backfield. And Darnold, quick toss. DJ Moore can't hang on. It'll be second down.
Yeah, too many drops this year for a unit. It's actually got some talent on the outside. It's just been rough, and you hurt for some of these quarterbacks here.
Well, Tony, Ben Roethlisberger may still have some life. The Steelers have won it in overtime, 16-13 over the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow, the Steelers are probably going to be in the playoffs.
Amazing.
That's incredible. I think it's just unless there's a tie, right?
Yeah, the Chargers and the Raiders game is...
there's no tie there. The Steelers are in. Come on.
Indianapolis lost to Jacksonville, so Indianapolis and Baltimore both out. Here's Moore. And Moore has a first down to the 30-yard line. All right, so the AFC playoff picture, and it's dicey. I mean, it's been crazy already today. Tennessee, with their victory over the Texans, they get the top seed. Kansas City, the number 2 seed. And Pittsburgh still in the hunt. How about that? Chargers and Las Vegas will still play tonight.
And that's only a tie keeps Pittsburgh out. Otherwise, Steelers. Who thought the Steelers were getting in 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? It just did not seem like Big Ben. Everyone thought it was his last game, really. It felt that way going into this.
It would not have been fitting, though, for his last game to be a tie with the Baltimore Ravens. Darnold finds Robbie Anderson at the 25-yard line. A gain of 5. And it'll be second down. Anderson's been battling a quad injury.
You see the pressure right there. I mean, that's what Sam Darnold's having to deal with. So when people talk about, is he the guy, and you're in Carolina and you're like, no, he's not playing that well. Well, tell me, who's going to play well on an out route when you're getting hit right there? Guys getting, just beat instantly at the center or right guard, left guard positions, and internal pressure is the worst for quarterbacks.
You think back to last week's game against the Saints, he was 9 for 9, and then he gets hit by Cam Jordan and strip sack, and after that, he didn't have the same effectiveness. So it's in the back of his mind.
Yeah, and there's only so many plays when you don't have time. I've had a year or two where you're like, whoa, this is, someone's going to be there in front of you in a second.
They're down at 6. Pass is complete to Anderson, and Anderson is right at the first down marker. Jamel Dean was in on the coverage. It's a gain of 7. So move the chains.
Darnold does a good job looking off and then throwing it right in front. You see Anderson's speed. He played with Darnold before with the Jets. They got a good connection there, but
so inside the 20-yard line, Carolina in the red zone this year. That's been part of their issue. They just haven't got.
Hey, Bucs fans. Hope you're enjoying the game here on 10 Tampa Bay. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. I'm here with meteorologist Grant Gilmore and meteorologist Natalie Ferrari.
We wanted to show you our exclusive Max Reality weather tool where we can take you beyond the maps
and explain the science behind the weather.
First, let's talk tornadoes. We're constantly monitoring
New York.
Ben and the Steelers, not done yet.
Chris Boswell in overtime makes his 36-yard field goal. Couple that with the Indy loss, which eliminates them. Barring the tie tonight with the Chargers and the Raiders, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be a number 7 seed, and Ben lives in play another day.
Back to Tom McCarthy, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson.
Yeah, JB, Coach Coward did a great interview today on the NFL Today pregame show. It was outstanding with Roethlisberger. You can hear the pride in Coach's voice that he might have a chance to see him in the postseason again.
Yeah, absolutely.
On second down, Abdullah. And Abdullah tries to get inside the 10 and does.
It's a really good sign right here. Carolina, if you're going to come into Tampa Bay and win, you're going to need a long drive. You're going to need multiple, but you got to finish them with touchdowns. Obviously, we've shown they're not very adept at doing that consistently. But
you know, it's amazing. Last week against the Saints, they had 2 long drives. Yeah. Here's Cam Newton, which is not a shocker at this point because he can run the football if they need him to.
Yeah, it's like you got to remember when the back of the end zone's close, those safeties now get involved in the run game, so they have an extra guy. Well, offensively, if you have a quarterback who can come in and run, you get an extra guy as well.
So 1st and goal from the 7. And Newton hands the ball off to Tremble, who runs to his left and is out of bounds inside the 5.
Tremble coming from Notre Dame, more of a blocking tight end coming out. But they can still show he's got some wheels. They wanted to get him the ball and run it.
Welcome, everybody, to Tampa Bay, along with Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson. I'm Tom McCarthy. Heck of an opening drive for the Carolina Panthers as Sam Darnold has 2nd and goal from inside the 5, looking to throw to Hubbard, and Hubbard's got it for a touchdown.
Well, I can tell you, everyone who just came right on, they're like, definitely when we turn on the TV right here and it goes to this game, Carolina should be ahead, 6-0, 7-0. That's what everyone thought. It's been a crazy day already, and you're seeing it right now as Carolina and Sam Darnold come out with a perfect first opening drive. What a good throw. Drive and get them all to come in on the pressure, make them feel like you're going to go ahead and block someone. But really, you're blocking Minter because you know he's governing the back there.
You know what? A 14-play drive that takes 7.5 minutes to start the game.
It was unbelievable. If you're a Carolina fan, you want to feel something good going into the offseason, right? And if you're Tampa, you're like, this cannot happen. We can't lose this seed. It's a big one.
Fourteen-play drive for the Carolina Panthers right out of the gate. 7-0. Panthers are on top. Hey, everybody. Tom McCarthy along with Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson here in Tampa. Jim Nantz is in COVID protocols, getting healthy for the postseason. How about that start by the Carolina Panthers?
Oh, my gosh. Jim's at home right now just like, whoa, what's going on? This is crazy. This is not what I expected. And I tell you, that's exactly what you want to see. And Carolina had a good start. You mentioned it earlier, Tom, at New Orleans. You know, when Darnold came out 9 for 9. The problem is, you could already tell on that drive, Sam made a couple of big-time decisions and throws under pressure, and he has to do that over and over. You just can't keep that up for the whole game.
There's Darden, will return the short kick, and he gets out across the 25, up to the 27-yard line. All right, so as we said, it's been crazy already in the National Football League today, but this is what's at stake. The most important part of it is if Tampa Bay wins, they can watch tonight, and if Los Angeles loses, they're the number 2 seed. That's so important.
It's so huge. I mean, think about it. You want to go against the Cardinals, who were leading the entire league most of the year, or would you rather play, you know, the San Francisco 49ers? Or, you know, it just feels to me like this is a huge game for Tampa, and the biggest reason is home games. If they can get that, somehow that 2 seed, the only time they got to go on the road is against Aaron Rodgers. And if you've got to go into Tampa and beat Brady, that's a way taller task, especially in the playoffs.
Tom Brady to throw on first down. Pressure's coming. He's hit from behind, and he's sacked at the 25-yard line for just the 22nd time this year. It's a loss of 2. Hartsfield came blitzing in.
Well, and you see, Hartsfield does a great job. And Tom really held on to that ball a long time. And Vaughn's coming in. You know, with the injuries, Fournette's down. We got some other people out for them. Obviously, we know about the wide receivers. But look at Brady. Isn't that incredible?
It is incredible. We asked him about all the numbers and the fact that he's on the doorstep of 5,000. He said, and this is typical Tom Brady, he said we have a really good team and a really good offensive line.
You're exactly right.
They blitz again. Brady pumps once, throws to the middle. Pass is nearly intercepted, intended for Gronkowski.
Well, and this is why Carolina has the number 2 overall defense, total defense in the NFL. Phil Snow, I'm really impressed with. Look at how many guys are up around line. There's 8 guys. Brady's going to send the back over here to pick up the outside pressure. But Tom, with that many people around the line of scrimmage, as much as you know how to get it the protection correct, it's always a little fuzzy as far as how much time you have. And I think Carolina does a great job giving quarterbacks a lot of different looks, exotic blitzes, but they need to stop the run on early downs to get in these type of situations.
On third down, and they've been very efficient on third down. He passes underneath to Tyler Johnson. He's well short of the first down. So a gain of just a couple. Hartsfield is in on the coverage. And Tampa will have to punt. Now, this is big. Obviously, Tom talked about this the other day, that he has to get acclimated to some of these younger players, which is what he's using today for.
That's a great point. This is actually huge. It's a really good topic there, because they're lucky they actually do get an extra game and a half, you know, with these wide receivers. And a guy like Johnson, Grayson, these guys are going to play huge roles in the playoffs.
High kick from Pinion. Erickson calls for the fair catch at the 25. 45-yard punt. Carolina with the early lead, and the football for the second time when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Verizon, the official 5G network of the NFL. And by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks.
Downtown Tampa Bay, where they seem to be used to championships. The Lightning, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. Can the Buccaneers be back-to-back Super Bowl champions? That's what they're going to try to do.
45. They absolutely can, but it's a really tall task, because there's something about when you're really hungry and it's the first time climbing Mount Everest, right? The second time, you're going to have to have some fortune, like right here.
And Darnold is sacked. He is spun down by Anthony Nelson, his 5th sack of the year.
And that's a guy who's stepping up and sneakily has had a really good season. As you see him right over here on the left side, he just keeps making plays, and you look up and you're like, this guy has 5 sacks. I mean, that's what the coaches, we asked. You asked a great question. Who's a guy that kind of comes in, plays well, and coaches like, Todd Bowles says, Mr. Nelson here.
Yeah, he's got a lot of talented players, and that was against Brady Christensen, who the Panthers fans are looking at left tackle because he's just a rookie at a BYU. Abdullah checks back into the ball game on second down and 20 after a loss of 10. Off the play fake, Darnold to throw middle of the field, deflected, nearly intercepted by Whitehead. Let's check in with Coach in New York for an update on Miami.
Yeah, the Miami Dolphins starting fast. Watch right here, Mac Jones picked off like Xavier Howard, steps in front, 37 yards. Miami's up 14-0 over New England. Back to Tom and Tony.
All right, Coach, we appreciate that. We'll keep an eye on that one. There's so much going on in the National Football League with these late games. It's third down and long. See what New England clinching the AFC East with a win and a Buffalo loss. Hubbard checks into the backfield for the Panthers. Darnold throws underneath to DJ Moore, and what a block by Hubbard. And Moore hurdles over a defender, and just a yard shy of the first down. He went over the top of Mike Edwards.
Watch Moore. This is a simple crossing route. You're going to get some blockers in front of you, and watch Moore right here. I'm going to go down right here to the outside. No, right over the top of you. And what a play. I think we got to look at this again. Now that's the right spot.
And they're going to go for it, Tony, on 4th down and 1, up 7-0. Why not?
You can't do that. That's crazy. Your season's on the line. It's good. No, it's not. I'd be going for it, too. Do they get it, Tom? First down.
They're going to hand it to Hubbard right here. He's going to get it. No, they're going to give it to DJ Moore. He's going to get it. And DJ Moore's going to get a whole lot more.
I see what you did there. More and more. Man special right there. You see Matt Rule, obviously, big week. Reports coming out that he'll be back. He's always had a good track record in that 3rd year in college, but Moore's getting a lot of touches to open this game, and they should keep going to him.
Yeah, what did Sam Darnold say about DJ Moore? And he got some good blocks, too, on the line. He said, I feel like he doesn't get a ton of national coverage, but he's everything you want in a #1 receiver.
Yeah. And, you know, this front right here in front of them, they haven't been good enough. And that makes everything need to be way better, but if they get that solidified, they've got some pieces.
Darnold's going to keep it himself. He slides up to the midfield. All right, it has not been a great year for Carolina after starting 3-0, but DJ Moore has been one of the bright spots. Jeremy Chin, inactive today, turned an ankle yesterday and walked through, but he's had a solid year. And the combination of Reddick and Burns have been really good on the edge defensively.
Yeah, they really have. Burns is a rising star, and I think you see these guys play hard. I think Phil Snow's a great defensive coordinator. I mean, it shows second in the NFL in defense. They haven't created quite the number of turnovers that are game-changing. They need to do that better, next year. But I think they're going to be really good on that side of the ball.
Darnold's in trouble. He gets rid of it, and a completion to the 44-yard line to C.J. Saunders, his first NFL reception, the former practice squad player.
Well, watch this. Sam, this is how your season, how you're going to have to play. Just, you got to make plays a little bit. And this is ridiculous. How do you expect people? I mean, that's why he could be a really good quarterback. He hasn't shown it yet, right? But I still believe in him. You just got to give him an offensive line.
Oh,
and he's never had one his entire career so far. If he gets one, I think you'll see some of this other stuff take off.
Well, they give him the first down at the 44-yard line. They hand it off to Hubbard, and Hubbard is stopped immediately. For more on the Carolina Panthers, let's check in with Tracy.
Well, thanks, Tom. Tony, you mentioned the reports. We spoke with the Panthers this week, and all expectations are that Matt Rule will indeed be back for the 22 season. When we spoke with Rule, he said no one likes losing, but he believes they are building something. And you mentioned it. This defense went from 18th in the league to 2nd. He said now it is time to focus on this offense. Obviously, there is frustration with how the season has gone, but the players have shown their support. While the results are not there yet, they believe it is coming.
Yeah, and to their credit, too, I mean, Christian McCaffrey is a huge piece to this offensive puzzle, and he's been out with injury most of this year. Darnold's in a little bit of trouble. He'll slide forward.
Well, and you see this right here. Darnold's under pressure on every play. I don't care if it's a two-step drop, play action with everyone blocking. It doesn't matter. This happens over and over as you see Sam down for an extra second. He's all right. But I do think he is a little bit banged up. I do think, though, they need to allocate the resources to the offensive line.
Right.
2 years ago, they drafted all defensive players. And all of a sudden, they're back. As you see them probably get kicked with that knee. Yeah, that happens way more than I ever liked when I played.
But he was already down and giving himself up, too, when Minter went into him.
But you are what you are, right? I mean, Carolina, again, 5-11.
Right.
I mean, it's like Matt Rule, yes. I'm glad they're giving him another year because I think they have built one side of the ball. But we're going to find out.
Carolina calls a timeout. We'll be back after this. Saturday afternoon, CBS will be in Lawrence, Kansas for a Big 12 battle between West Virginia and the 6th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks. We'll see you Saturday for college hoops here on CBS. Had a triple header yesterday. College basketball on CBS. All right, so Sam Darnold, 8 of 11, 76 yards. 22 plays for Matt Rule's offense so far to 3 for Tampa. And now a 3rd down and 9.
See these two guys standing up right here, Tom?
Yep.
They got to protect those guys. That's 6 of them up there. Then all of a sudden, one of these guys comes all the time, somebody else, and then they drop out a bunch of people from the inside.
Darnold out of the gun. Got rid of it quickly. And Saunders short of the first down. It was Nelson again who makes the tackle. A short gain of 4. It'll be 4th down.
Like we said, so what happens is they put these guys up in here so the running back has to go up, and then they blitz someone from the outside. And they got lucky, the receiver got in, but that's where you need guys to get open quickly. And a Christian McCaffrey was a game changer early in the year because that's where you could be like, go ahead, blitz me.
Yep.
Because this guy's going to catch that ball, and now all of a sudden one guy has to tackle him, and that's not a guy you want to see in space. And wow, the season on the line again. Going for it.
On 4th down and 6, they converted the last one. It was a little shorter. Play clock is down to 1, and Carolina's going to burn its 2nd timeout. So they've used 2 timeouts. He thought it was the end of the quarter because the clock wound down to 0, and that's what he's talking to the down judge about right now. But there was definitely a signal of a timeout before the clock wound down to 0.
Yep. And there's a second they're putting back on. But I do wonder, if you're taking this, let's watch it right here. See this clock. See these two right there? 3, 2. Oh.
Yeah, Matt Rule called it with 1 second left. In reality, he should have just let the quarter wind down.
You would have been able to do that. Yep.
So the offense stays on the fields. It's 4th down and 6. Low snap. Darnold handles it, going long to the far side of the field for more, and it's deflected, incomplete. And Tampa Bay will take over. Davis was in on the coverage. It's his 11th pass deflection of the year. That's the end of the first quarter. Carolina scored on its opening drive.
Giving the ball back to Brady. As you see, Vea 50. He's going to be a monster come playoff time. Still wreaking havoc today.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Farmers Insurance. Get a quote at farmers.com. And by Trulicity.
The Sunshine Skyway Bridge, just a few miles from here. How about this graphic? You know, it's the lowest total, second lowest total that Tom Brady has ever had in a first quarter of a game that he's played in.
Yeah, on a Monday with a full moon. I'm like, come on, he had one drive. If the other team holds the ball for 15 minutes, Tom, it's going to be a low total for you.
Here's Vaughn, and Vaughn dances his way toward 10.
So you can technically say he's still not playing great right now, but here's why to start the game. This was the key to coming in. The pressure on Brady. This team, both these teams run exotic blitzes. And right there you see Vaughn in, but this was incredible. There's one high safety. How are they going to play cover 2? Tom has to read this after the snap, and he's just a hair late to Gronkowski. That's why when you go against great quarterbacks, putting a lot of guys up on the line of scrimmage on obvious passing downs and then bailing out, that gives them the most trouble because they have to read it after the snap.
Vaughn able to get a couple of yards, has a first down. It was interesting talking to Matt Rule and Coach Snow. They kind of leaned on the way the New Orleans Saints face the Buccaneers. But now that's different because the Saints have guys that can play man coverage.
Yes, you're exactly right. And they play a ton of man. But the Saints have built this on defense. Carolina's different, more exotic in some ways. But the Saints play with 2 high safeties, and they can stop the run. But they have guys who can cover them. They put their hands on it. But that's because you have safeties up top helping.
Tom Brady to throw, and he overthrows his intended receiver. It was Mike Evans. Let's check in with Coach in New York with an update.
Yeah, watch Matthew Stafford here. A little Tony Romo fake. And then Tyler Higbee from 1 yard out on the 4th and 1. And the Rams take a 10-0 lead over the San Francisco 49ers. Back to you, Tom and Tony.
All right, Coach. So the Rams up 10-0. And obviously, if the Rams win, they would get the number 2 seed. But if they lose and Tampa wins, they would slide into the number 2 seed.
That is a huge difference. And see all these guys up here? He's got to determine who to send it back to. And Brady's amazing at it.
He's got Cameron Brate in the backfield. He throws it to Brate. And Brate is tripped up shy of the 45-yard line. Hartsfield with the tackle after a gain of 5.
You know, they're down the receivers already. I thought I saw Grayson pull up. That's why Brady had to throw it away. Mike Evans was coming across the field a couple plays ago. And that's a big deal if number 15 caught the game-winning touchdown pass last week for Tampa. Is not going to be able to play because it looked like he pulled up with his hamstring.
But by the way, with that completion, Tony, that's 5,000 yards exactly for Tom Brady, his second one of his career. The first one came back in 2011. It's remarkable what he's been able to do, even in his late 30s, early 40s.
You're not kidding. Fountain of youth, right?
Little slant. And that pass complete to Tyler Johnson, who's shy of the first down. It'll be 4th down.
Good tackle by Hartsfield.
All right, so this is the play you were talking about. This is what happened. Grayson looked like he hurt himself.
Yeah, you see, Evans is coming over. It's going to be open. Brady's going to throw it to him, but he pulls up, and then you'll see him grab. Yeah, that's what I thought when I was looking down on the field. That was the guy who's very fast. I mean, didn't even play college football, by the way. He's 5'9", 180-some pounds, but he's fast. Track star, 4.33, and That's going to hurt them, I think, because they're down already, the other two.
Big time. Keyshawn Vaughn on 4th and 2 is in the backfield. Brady steps up and throws underneath. He's got Mike Evans. And Evans spins his way to the 28-yard line. It's a gain of 14. So now he has 5,000 in the rearview mirror.
Good call. Watch Evans. He's going to go up and run a crossing route, but everyone's going to hit each other for Carolina. It's not even a pick play. It just happens to be because they were so physical with Gronkowski.
Rashawn Melvin.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, banged up, slow to get off the field. We'll be back right after this. Well, there's Grayson walking off the field. And again, that's a tough loss because considering all the receivers that they're down, Chris Godwin, the Antonio Brown situation as well. Tom Brady's trying to get familiar with some of these young receivers. Scotty Miller checks in, number 10 in the slot to the right. And Brady throws to his left for Gronkowski and overthrows him.
And you see, Gronk's going to have to take on a huge role moving forward. We know with these receivers down, and teams are going to start to do this. Here's the play before. You see him right there? You got one guy hitting him, and you see number 4, that's 2 guys there. Now, they're all in there, and that's where everyone gets destroyed coming in. But the teams who are going to beat the Buccaneers are going to play it that way, the way that Franklin did, and get aggressive at the line of scrimmage, because they are going to him the rest of this year. I promise you saw it right there again.
And he had over 100 yards last week against the Jets, so you know he's still a weapon. There's Cameron Brate, another one of the 4 tight ends that are active today. Let's check in with Tracy.
Tom, you were talking about the wide receiver depth. That is not good news for Cyril Grayson. We saw him pull up on this drive with a hamstring injury. He was briefly looked at, frustration on his face, and they immediately have ruled him out.
Well, that's a shame, and hopefully they get him back for the postseason, but that's a tough one.
Yeah, hamstrings are, you never know. It's tough to get it right back, especially when it just happened right here. The next week is always, at best, a coin flip, I feel like.
Le'Veon Bell checks in off the play fake to Bell. Quick pass to Evans, and he leads him a little too far. May have gotten tied up before he broke his route.
Well, Evans runs, if you remember, against Seattle in the Super Bowl in 2014. He goes in, slant, Edelman, stop, and go back out. And Brady missed him, and they came right back to it 2 plays later, and they scored that one late in the 4th. And I tell that whole story for no reason other than to say Tom Brady's missed that throw again.
Well, it also shows your memory that you're able to reference back to it so cleanly.
Oh, thank you. Just continue.
Here's the 39-yard field goal attempt by Ryan Suckup. 23 of 27 on the year. Good snap, good hold, kick is on its way, and it is good. The Buccaneers are on the board, 11:09 to play. First half, down 7-3. Football's iconic show Inside the NFL is streaming Tuesdays at 9:30 on Paramount+. Vea, who just signed the 4-year contract extension yesterday, which is a big deal for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They needed some positive news this week with everything that's gone on with Antonio Brown during the second half of last week's game against the Jets. Bruce Arians leans on his veterans so much. As Amir Abdullah is back deep to receive. Pinion's kickoff. Well, speaking of Antonio Brown, last week the NFL saw an unprecedented in-game scene put on by the former Buck receiver, the genesis of which, according to Bruce Arians, stemmed from not enough targets in the first half, but that Brown said was because of an ankle injury he sustained earlier in the week. The Bucks contend that he was medically cleared on Thursday. Brown was officially cut by the Buccaneers. The NFL Players Association said they will investigate. Bruce Arians said that he's been through a whole lot more than that. Losing a couple quarterbacks before the postseason in 2015 as the head coach of the Cardinals, he said, we're good. But this team is going to look different, Tony, going into the postseason.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's something, as you see Darnold, we got a penalty there, probably a hold on the defense.
Well,
but I think offense is going to be changing a little, because Antonio, who had a big week against Carolina a couple weeks ago, provided them a different skill set. So when Godwin went down, Antonio's role was going to...
Defense number 24. 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
But I do think that you're going to see Tom Brady, who's been in so many different systems, right? Gronkowski and Edelman, the inside passing game toward the end of his career with New England there. Before then, he had two tight ends, Hernandez, Gronk, and they used that type. Early, and then there was the Randy Moss stuff outside. He had that. He's going to morph this back into what this team needs and who they're going to be. I think you're going to see them go to one of those type of years, I think.
And he does seem like he handles these challenges so well. Let's go to JB in New York for an update.
Rams looking to secure and stay at the number seed.
You're right, JB. Matthew Stafford, for the second time today, hooks up with Tyler Higbee, this time from 15 yards out, and they take a very comfortable 17-0 lead over San Francisco. And they win the NFC West, and it's number 2 seed.
Back to Tom McCarthy.
Yeah, that would then lead Tampa Bay, if they win, to the number 3 seed. Right now, Sam Darnold and the Panthers on offense. Here's Hubbard, and Hubbard inside Tampa territory down to the 36-yard line.
By the way, that's another interesting thing, right, for Tampa. I've been thinking about this a couple times this week. The New Orleans Saints defense is the kryptonite to this Tampa offense. And you know, if a team could do right here what Carolina's doing and have some of these drives, and keep themselves in phase, then all of a sudden you get a defense who could possibly give them trouble. It would be a scary opponent if I was Tampa Bay. I don't want to run into New Orleans, and if they win...
Robbie Anderson doesn't have much going. He loses a couple on that one.
If they win and they get in the playoffs, all of a sudden, if you're a Tampa fan, are you like, do I want the Rams to win or lose? I mean, obviously, it just changes things. But if the Rams lose and Tampa wins, right? Now you're the 2 seed. And if somehow the Saints get in, you have them. Oh, you don't want that if you're a Tampa fan. Yeah, that's the one team who can literally slow down this offense, and you don't even have all your weapons that you started the year with.
And I think the Tampa fans have looked at all these different scenarios. They see that the heavy percentage goes for them to face the Eagles if they wind up winning this game. That is a tough matchup. Darnold to the outside, and Zylstra cannot get his hand on it. Darnold led him a little bit too much. Murphy Bunting was in on the coverage. Sam Darnold now 10 of 15, 77 yards and a touchdown. Now a 3rd down and 12. Little DJ Moore action here, you think?
He's definitely been the focal point. I agree with you.
Although they have gone for it on 4th down twice already. What do you think they're going to?
Well, I think you're going to go outside, up top.
No. Darnold looking that way. He goes underneath to Abdullah, and he's got some blockers and a 1st down. He ran into his own man. Well, you're a big screen pass guy. I mean, this is a huge part of the offense.
This is what they need to do. When teams have that interior pressure and they want to rush the passer, you can just screen him to death, and all of a sudden it'll slow down the pressure. The pass rush will kind of start to be a little more timid. It's the same as running the football a different way. But a team who doesn't have a dominant offensive line, let's screen them. Let them rush. It's okay to get beat on screens. We want you to, offensive linemen.
Yeah, we talked to Todd Bowles about Sam Darnold. Obviously, he was the head coach of the Jets when they drafted him. He said if you get him moving a little bit, that's where he's most effective. Abdullah, the veteran, is down inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. Kevin Minter was in on the tackle for the Buccaneers. Gain 9. And this is an offensive line, as we said, that has been in flux all year. They've got Deontay Brown, another rookie who's in at right guard. They got Christensen in, a rookie at left tackle. They give it to Abdullah again, and Abdullah gets the 1st down. Down close to the 10-yard line.
Well, you just talked about Brown, number 77. He is a big guy from Bama right there. And, you know, he's got a lot to learn. You know, 6th-round pick. But playing right there, he can run block. You'll see his size. And right there, they did run right inside of him. I'm anxious to see, because this is the area going into the offseason we're going to keep talking about. If they allocate the resources in free agency and the draft to this offensive line, they could make a major leap next year. Big time. You've got a defense. You need an offensive coordinator and an offensive line.
Abdullah with the pitch, and Abdullah stumbles down at the 13-yard line. Minter was one of the first guys there. Devin White. Those two guys are so important with Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul being out at the linebacker position.
Yeah, and it's huge. Minter's quietly done a really good job playing a lot. David, who we're talking about, has a good chance of being back. But how about being healthy for the first time in the playoff game this year? Tampa Bay this year. It's like, wow, you're going to get really full strength right in your first playoff game. I mean, that's a tough sign on opponents, isn't it?
I thought about that from last year. Vea was one of those guys that came back in the championship game in the Super Bowl. And the numbers were so good defensively when he came back as Abdullah gets down inside the 5-yard line.
That's a great point, actually. Like, they were good and everything. When Vea all of a sudden comes in there, he's like Sue back when he was young. And his ability to just disrupt everything in the middle. Good job right there by Abdullah making a one-cut back. But he disrupts so much stuff because you really don't need to add a ton of people. So like in the Super Bowl, it's like, no, we can just have big guys, him and Sue in there. We can stop the run. We don't have to bring a safety down. And now all of a sudden it gets a lot more difficult when you got two guys back there.
Hubbard checks back in. Darnold pitches it forward and stopped at the 1-yard line is Tommy Tremble. He did get the first down.
This is some Andy Reid stuff, but it's one of the hardest 1-yard passes you'll ever have. Look at this. Go ahead and fit that in that gap right there.
Did you like these kind of plays as a quarterback?
I would love them because they're touchdown passes. But I only got one in my career, and I'm like, I should have 50 more touchdowns, everyone, if I just had these little shovel passes that we never run. I remember one time we were in empty formation, so no one can run the ball, right? As you see, they're bringing out the measurement. But empty formation means nobody's in the backfield, no running back. So you're going to have to throw the football. It's 3rd down and 4 from the 4. So they're going to drop everyone and rush 4 guys, maybe even drop a lineman, defensive lineman out as we got 4th and short.
Wow.
But all of a sudden, we had to play one week where Witten would just motion. I'd say set hut, and I would just pitch it to him right in front of me. He'd just take a step, and he'd go right behind the center with the D lineman dropping out. I was like, that's the easiest touchdown I've ever had in my life. I want to do that again and again and again. And we never did it again the rest of my life.
All right, so now it's.
But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
You don't remember it at all, do you? All right, so 4th and inches. They've gone for it on 4th down on a couple of occasions, but this one obviously more important for Matt Rule's team.
This is a huge, for the outcome of this game, this is getting away, not away, right? But it's getting to where it's going to be a game all the way through if you score here. Now, this is an unbelievable interior. I'd go outside here, don't go up the middle.
Well, that's what Darnold did, a quarterback keeper. He may have enough for the first down, but we'll see where the spot is.
I'm telling you, you look at paper, you look at film, you look at everything. Where's the strength of this Tampa Bay defense? These guys right here in the middle, pretend like you're going in there and get wide. This is going to be close.
No signal yet. Tony Corrente calls for a timeout. They'll bring the chains onto the field.
Oh, the ball.
Yeah, he lost the ball.
Yeah, good discussion is, do you bring Cam Newton in for that?
I thought they might even prior to this, like they did on the first drive. But even this way, he's such a big body.
He's done that a few times too. That fumbling part of it would be the only reason they don't get this.
Right, because it slowed him up just a little bit. And Tampa Bay's defense stands firm.
Might get a challenge here because it is close, but I'm like, I don't know, based on our replays. Big stop. Tampa coming out with Brady.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Visa, a network giving small businesses tools to grow. Royal Caribbean, rise to the vacation. Come seek. And by new from Papa John's, try the New York style pizza.
Well, Tampa's offense is out on the field, but Matt Rule has thrown the challenge flag out. Look at this overhead. Did he get there, Tony?
I thought he got really close right here. By the end of it, they're going to pull him back. And I think that the refs come flying. I don't know that you can overturn this, but watch. He's got to get like right there and watch his body as it comes in. Right there, his legs, that ball's easily there. And he gets pushed back, though, so watch. I know the ball's fumbled right here, but he gets it back forward. Now, that's really close there, but by the end of this, you're going to see his head all the way back down over here.
After review, the ruling on the field will stand as short of a first down. Tampa Bay will take over on downs. Carolina will be charged their third and final timeout of the first half, with the game clock operator reset the game clock to 4:57. 4:57. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't overturn that. That's the correct call. I mean, it's one of those you could try it and you might have got, but it's just there's nothing that's going to show you. But how about all three of your timeouts being gone?
All three of them with 4:57 to play here in the first half. All right, so this would be a 99-yard drive. Last week it was a 93-yard drive. Keyshawn Vaughn in the backfield on first down. Carolina showing blitz, the handoff to Vaughn, and Vaughn gets a couple of yards and moves the pile close to the 4. Let's take a look at our next-gen stats powered by AWS.
Well, Tom Brady, he's not pretty good. 96% of his dropbacks are from inside the pocket. The only quarterback above 93%. What it shows you is they got a good offensive line. But really, Tom Brady gets the ball out so quick, and he sees all the angles. He sees people who are open. He sees everything, and he's seen everything. So it's hard to blitz him. And that's why teams who line up don't pressure unless everyone's up at the line of scrimmage.
Hands off again to Vaughn, and Vaughn is able to break one tackle and get up to the 7-yard line. You know, this is a tale of two different teams. Obviously, the Buccaneers have a lot more depth, a lot more talent, but it's also a tale of two different offensive lines. Tom Brady's offensive line, they've had one player who's missed one game. Oh. Meanwhile, the Panthers have had 12 different starting lineups on their offensive line.
And I think, that's such a talked about point right there you made. This offensive line being healthy is the difference for Brady playing 5 years or 2 more. I think it's like, as long as these guys are healthy, they're really good. Tom's really good. They're going to be hard to beat.
On third down, Buccaneers have not converted a third down yet. Brady throws it away, intended for Gronkowski. And the pressure was there, was nearly a safety. And the Buccaneers will be forced to punt.
That's a double team on Gronk. You're going to see him coming across the field right here. Brady's waiting for him, and by that point, the right side gets pushed into him. And Burns does a great job pushing that pocket, and Reddick as well.
Second 3 and out. Yeah, Reddick looked like he even had his hand on the ball.
That's one of Tom's best attributes. Just throwing the ball away. Right. Not taking sacks.
Here's Pinion back off the COVID list. Alex Erickson is back deep to receive for the Panthers. His 6th year out of Wisconsin. And out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it. The Panthers on top 7-3 with 3:32 to play in the first half. Sam Darnold will bring his offense back on the field yet again. NFL playoffs are here, and it all kicks off with Super Wildcard Weekend. Action gets started with a Saturday doubleheader, followed by a Sunday tripleheader. And for the first time ever, a Monday wildcard. 3 days, 6 games, 1 epic weekend. The road to Super Bowl 56 starts here. And if you didn't think a team could get to the Super Bowl if they're a wildcard team, well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did it and won Super Bowl 55 last year. Sam Darnold leads at 7-3. No timeouts left, 3.5 to play. First half. Abdullah's been busy in this half for the Panthers. Flags are in. And Abdullah gets inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. Gain of 9 yards.
Pass interference, offense, number 16. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Tony Corrente, who could be an official in the postseason, working his final regular season game. Joined the NFL in '95 as a back judge, became a referee in '98, 20 postseason games, and 1 Super Bowl. Did you have a favorite referee that you would, saddle up to and say, hey, how's it going? Just to kind of have a good relationship with?
I absolutely did, and it was whoever was behind me that day. You are absolutely my favorite.
You sweet talker.
And Tony was my favorite that day. I could go down, on and on, but these guys are really great guys. They work really hard, and appreciate all their hard work and the good.
First and 20, Anderson slips his way back inside Tampa territory to the 44-yard line. Robbie Anderson, who had the quad injury, we weren't sure if he was going to play or not. He was out with his own T-shirt on today in warm-ups, doing all kinds of cuts. So Robbie Anderson makes that reception.
Yeah, that's why this offensive line, if they get that right, you can use Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore, I mean, think about it. They're down their first 2 picks this year. Marshall's a wide receiver. They got in the second round. McCaffrey's out. I mean, this has got a chance. This is the team next year that's going to take that leap if they get an offensive line.
Abdullah again stumbles. He has some daylight.
I will say I don't really love their identity right now as an offense. Like, I don't know what they are. You know, it's like I'm trying to find out, like, what system, how do they, it's just not there, and they're going to have to figure that out in the offseason. And Sam Darnold, who I think still has a future.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Progressive. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. And by Bud Light Seltzer. If you drink, don't drive. Decide to ride.
Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Third down and 5 for Sam Darnold. Tremble in motion. They pass to Zylstra, who's going to pass himself to the far side. Incomplete. He had Abdullah.
This was a great play call, and he was open, and you're going to see, oh, we're just throwing a screen. Nope. But what happens there is that he's wearing a glove as a wide receiver. And if you don't throw a ton, you see the ball just sticks to that glove a little long, and it pulls it too far forward. And that ball should have been outside. I mean, we're not going to nitpick about accuracy for a wide receiver.
Oh, but that's a good point, though, that
it sticks to that glove just an extra second. It is, because you throw a ball, and then it's like, oh, it's a little stickier.
First punt of the day for the Panthers. And a fair catch is called for Darden. Buccaneers will take over. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm. What's good?
Oh, Patrick?
Nah, fam. Just your typical sneakerhead working here for the employee discount. But speaking of deals, I heard regular guys like me are getting the Patrick price. That can't be real, right?
Listen, State Farm offers rates that fit any budget. Even yours, typical sneakerhead.
Wow. Just anyone now?
Yeah.
Man, these just sold out then.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Carolina's on top 7-3. Not a whole lot going on offensively for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at least so far. They've had a lot of issues with their wide receiver position coming in. We all know that. Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin out with knee surgery this past week. They lost Grayson earlier. That pass is complete. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
2 minute. This is where it's difficult because you got to get the right guys protected. Last one, the guy came free. Brady got it out.
He's so fast when he gets rid of the football. He throws that at the feet of Tyler Johnson.
Well, I don't think he wanted to throw it at his feet.
No.
This is where the guys that are young are going to be so important, okay? Because if I'm Brady, watch over the ball as Brady goes. Get ready to pause this. Okay, pause it right now. He should stop. Brady's like, just slow down. And he keeps running. I mean, what's he supposed to do? There's an awareness right there, right? Johnson obviously didn't do it there, but that's where the other guys would be like, oh, you're right in front of me. I'll slow down for you.
Le'Veon Bell in the ball game picks up the blitz, has Evans, and Evans with some daylight, and he's got some ability to run, a little stiff arm, and he gets up across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Gain of 37 yards.
So here he is. He's going to go up here, and you see these guys in there? That's all of a sudden where the ball goes. Brady knew right away. All-out pressure.
I got to tell you, the Romo vision is spectacular when you're able to do a play like that.
Yeah, that is true. I just heard Romo. I didn't hear the spectacular
Romo vision.
That's right. So it's all out pressure. You drop guys out if you're blocked, but Brady senses it. And that's why the cover 0 on the Romo vision is a very good one.
Well, and remember, too, Carolina's without Jimmy Chin, their free safety, who's such a big part of their secondary.
Yeah, that is.
He turned his ankle yesterday.
You know, like a semi-walkthrough on Saturdays. Yeah, you have a little practice with it, but that's got to be just terrible when you're like, we're just kind of shorts.
On first down, middle of the field, Gronk. Gronk, 7 yards. What did Gronk tell you guys a couple weeks ago? He said, I don't try to plow through everybody as much anymore. Well, he tried to plow through them right there.
Yeah, he shouldn't try and plow through them as much anymore. It's like, he'll do it when he needs to.
Hurry, go!
Under a minute to play in the first half. Gronkowski again. Oh, he bobbled it for a moment, but he's able to corral it inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. 20-yard gain. We'll be back in 30 after this.
With Farmers Auto multi-policy discount, the more policies you have with us, the more you can save on your auto insurance.
Hey, hon. Hi, honey. Like what?
Well, you'd get a discount for insuring your jet skis and boat, RV, life, home, and more. You could save up to 45%.
That's a whole lot of discounts.
Well, we offer coverage for a whole lot of things, and you could save a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks.
What's up, Dad?
17-car garage you got there?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Well, Phil Snow told us yesterday that Tom Brady is a 2-minute master. And I think he's showing that master class right here, being a 2-minute master.
Well, why do you think that, though? I feel like that's objective. Is he real? Oh, wait, it is Tom Brady.
I think he slows the game down so much in these tough spots. He's going to the end zone, and it's complete out of bounds with Rashad Perryman.
How does a 55-year-old make a throw like this?
How about that?
He's in.
Wow, what a play by Perryman.
This is where you got to get up and snap it quickly for Brady.
Oh, wow.
Don't let him reach out, but it's a catch. This is the NFL is going to go ahead and go, wait a sec, we should look at this.
Gain of 24 yards.
Just hand it off right here to the right.
They do. Bell to his left, lowers his shoulder to the 1-yard line.
Take your time now. You got a timeout. Get back on the ball. Call the same play for Brady. Give a fade outside. It's a handoff to the right. Brady one-on-one. You go up there.
Off the play fake. Brady finds Bell, and Bell walks into the end zone, and the Buccaneers take the lead.
Wow. I'm telling you right now, Tom Brady called a play-action pass, throw to the running back on the ball in 2 minutes. You're right, Tom. He is the 2-minute master, because I haven't seen that before. You don't call this type of play on the ball quickly where everyone knows their assignment and it's a play action pick route. And here's the catch to set it up.
Look at the footwork by Perryman.
I think he's going to get more throws and catches moving forward. When I watch the tape, I think he's the guy that Tom kind of senses and feels he's got a big target in range.
And on that pass, Tom Brady has set a Bucs single-season record for passing yards and passing touchdowns. The point after by Suckup is good.
Now, 7. That all stems from the glove throw that stuck too long. Because if you get that first down, they don't go down and score that touchdown. And Tom Brady, wow, look at that.
By the way, before today's game, Tampa Bay left tackle Donovan Smith surprised Robert Dubois, who, with the help of the Innocence Project, was fully exonerated in 2020 after serving 37 years in prison for crimes he did not commit. Smith, along with fellow lineman Alex Kappa and Ali Marpet, formed a bond with Dubois after learning of his story. Smith wore these cleats honoring both Dubois and the Innocence Project. And you know, we saw Dubois before the ball game, tears in his eyes, being overwhelmed by the gifts.
That's one of those things. You love hearing about stories that are good things happen, right? It's like we always hear about negative stuff, but can't help but just root for a guy like that. And just his will, very special.
Pinions kickoff will send Abdullah to the far side. He's going to come out a yard deep. And Abdullah gets close to the 20-yard line. Well, Tom Brady is incredible. He broke his own record for passing touchdowns in a season with 41. He had 40 a season ago. Jameis Winston had set the previous record at 33. That was the first touchdown of the year for Le'Veon Bell, who they feel like will be an asset going into the postseason.
Yeah, and you know, the biggest thing coming in here was Tom. This system, it gets the ball down the field and everything. That's different. So really, this is a whole new type of system too. This is a vertical route running team down the field, and he's doing this. Tom Brady has just shown you, if nothing else, it doesn't matter what system he's in, because, you know, for a while people would make dumb comments. They're like, he just runs the one system. I'm like, he's great in anything. And he's gone on to show it.
That's the end of the first half. 10-7 Buccaneers. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon.
I'm ready to blow, it's my turn, so come on, let's go. Come on, I can't be stopped, I'm never gonna fold. I'm heading to the top, and I'm looking for the gold.
Final drive of the first half. Tom Brady was 6 of 7 for 89 yards, and he led the Buccaneers into the end zone on top 10-7. Hey, everybody, Tom McCarthy along with Tony Romo. We'll hear from Tracy Wolfson in just a little bit. You're all filled up on Bananas Foster and ready to go for the second half.
Share some, keep some, Tom. Don't need to tell everyone everything, but maybe had a bite to eat or two.
That was an impressive last drive by Tom Brady.
It was, and it was, I mean, you expect that out of him. It's the 2 minute, and all of a sudden he's going to come out there, he's going to go down and score, and you kind of know that. The biggest thing is the Panthers are in this game, but they really kind of dominated all the way until that one play to Evans, which got him out of the hole down there. And that's the one, it's like you look back on every game and you say, if we had that one play, if you did this, and everyone says that, but Brady usually takes advantage. I will say this, I'm a little concerned right now, if I'm a Buccaneer fan, that we're not getting quite as open on the outside as I'm used to seeing.
Good point. Besides that catch by Perriman, up to the 23-yard line is Darden. Let's check in with Tracy.
Well, thanks a lot, Tom. Until that final drive, Matt Rule said he was extremely pleased with his defense. He said offensively, they certainly left points on the board, specifically on that 4th and inches. And I asked him why he didn't use Cam Newton on that sneak. He said because both of our quarterbacks can do that. So they decided to go with Darnold. But in terms of staying aggressive, they were 1 for 3 on 4th downs. He will continue to do that in the second half here.
All right, Tracy, thank you. We appreciate that. It's a good question, though, about Cam Newton, why he wasn't in there. On in the backfield.
If you're Matt Rule, he thinks he's safe from his job 100%. He does not feel like it's strenuous at all right now. Just look at him. He's cool, nothing to see. I mean, he is sweating. Feels like that's what you feel like when your job's on the line. And like I said, I think he's warranted the ability to come back for another year and give them another opportunity.
Here's Gronkowski into the open field, making sure he holds on to the football down inside the 35-yard line to the 33.
Well, this is a busted coverage. As you see, Gronk right here going to go down the middle, but watch that little middle linebacker. No one stays with him. Carter, number 4, does it again.
42 yards, Gronk again, and he pinballs his way off the defender. Kenny Robinson held on to the hips and didn't let go. It was Sam Franklin that got knocked away.
Same thing. Carter again, right there. Why are you coming underneath? Once Brady figures out your scheme, now he may be able to come underneath, but he's got to communicate that. So you know what you do after that? You put everyone up in here and let Tom decide. Let's see what he says.
Red action!
Oh, red action. Here we go. You know what that means, Tom?
What does that mean, Tom?
Quick pass screen.
There it is. Quick pass to Johnson. He didn't get a whole lot. He got back to the line of scrimmage and was pushed back.
But that's what you do. You put everyone up in there, and Brady goes, okay, they're all blitzing. He's going to throw a screen, and then you just drop everyone, and screen goes right into a bunch of people. Cat and mouse game.
So second down. Check that. That was Perriman who made that reception. Rashad Perriman, the 7th-year pro out of Central Florida. Only 8 catches this year.
Come on, baby. Hey, Blue Bono! Blue Bono, come move in! Blue Bono, 318, protect!
Hand it off.
There you go. Gives it off to Vaughn, and Vaughn snakes his way down to the 10-yard line. Gain of 5. Make it 6 officially.
This is where Tom's at his best. I mean, great everywhere, but on the ball, calling plays. Good to see the defense. This is what calms down some of that pressure stuff.
He's completed 9 of his last 10, making 10 of his last 11. But he's got a first down. It'll be 1st and goal. This one to Johnson, the 2nd-year pro out of Minnesota, a gain of 7 yards.
Johnson coming back across the field, taking a lot of the Antonio Brown, Godwin type of routes.
They hand it off to Vaughn, and Vaughn right through the middle into the end zone. Quick as a cat. The Buccaneers are on top, 16-7.
We talked to Brady, I don't know, a month ago or so, and last time when I was talking to him, he was talking about the communication and how it's really improved from last year to this year, as you see right there. All these plays are being called without huddling. And for you to get to that really next level communication, the Peyton Manning type of stuff where he can get on and call all the stuff in your playbook at the line of scrimmage, I mean, that takes a lot of work and effort by everyone, and they're doing that. And that's what's made them really improve as the season's going on.
Suck up on for the point after. And it is good. 17-7.
It is good.
Sean Vaughn, his 2nd touchdown of the year. Tonight it's a new year. That means a new episode of The Equalizer. Queen Latifah returns in the show critics are calling fresh and reinvigorating. Don't miss The Equalizer tonight after 60 minutes on CBS. Tom Brady now 15 of 21, 191 yards and a touchdown. Abdullah back deep to receive. Pinion will kick it off for the Buccaneers. And Abdul will go run this down at the 4 on the far side. He's able to slide through the defense and get up to the 33-yard line. Let's check in with Tracy.
Tom, lots of congratulations for Rob Gronkowski when he came out after that touchdown drive. That's because those 2 receptions gave him $500,000. All he needed was to go over 650 receiving yards. If he gets 3 more catches, he'll get another $500,000. Big payday could be for Rob Gronkowski tonight.
Big payday.
Wow. That's a big catch that he makes going forward.
These 1-year deals are being very profitable for him as Hubbard bounces his way to the 37-yard line.
And that was a big point of emphasis in the Antonio Brown, saga. Was just, I think a lot of the players have incentives, and I think there's something about team incentives that I like, right? Odell Beckham goes to the Rams, and his stuff incentive-laden for money was a team incentive. So if we win, if we do blah, 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 you get a bonus. And some of these other ones are obviously production, and that's always been that way. But I kind of like that for, certain people, certain positions, certain guys coming in that you're like, okay, are these guys disruptive sometimes?
Darnold got nailed on that throw. Tommy Tremble. The pressure was by Devin White.
And I think Darnold's playing really, White full speed, just right through the middle. Those hurt more than they look. But Darnold's playing a very efficient, good football game. You just see how hard it is, right? Everything's just difficult. And it's like, over 4 quarters, it's just take a beating over and over again. You can't expect any quarterback to be successful game in, game out, having this kind of time.
Tracy asked him the question in our meeting with him about, is he thinking about next year as that ball is swatted away at the line of scrimmage? And he said he's really not thinking about it. He said he's using what his mom and dad told him, was to let things kind of just play out.
And that's the way you do. I mean, he's been through a lot already in this short career. I mean, the Jets, he had no help, up front. Same thing there. He's never really had, a situation around him that's quarterback friendly, I call it. Play action game marries to the running game. The screen game against pressure. Like, everything's hard. You know, their RPOs are really hard. It's like these things that should be easy, they're just not. And they got to get that system right first, you know, and then the draft after that.
Edwards on to punt the football away. Darted back deep to receive for the Buccaneers. They'll get a chance to return this one. Not much there, though. Just a couple yards. 50-yard punt, 3-yard return. Sam Franklin with the tackle. Keyshawn Vaughn with the score for the Buccaneers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Intuit TurboTax Live. You do your thing. We've got your taxes. T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. And by Ram Trucks, J.D. Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality.
43rd meeting between the Panthers and the Buccaneers. Tampa obviously holds the series advantage. How about what Tampa Bay has done since the 2-minute warning in the first half? 169 yards and 14 points.
We didn't see that coming either, because remember that first quarter stat where Tom Brady had like the lowest yards ever, only 3 or something? It was like, that was going to switch pretty quickly. Can't keep this team down.
Brady on first down, quick toss to the outside to Mike Evans. And Evans up to the 23-yard line. That's over 1,000 yards now for Mike Evans. It's an incredible feat on his part, and he's hurt. Oh, man.
Well, they can ill afford to have this happen right now. Godwin down. Brown off the team. And now Evans, that's their top 3 receivers. Whoa.
Yeah, this is a big one right now as they take a look at Mike Evans. And he knows something's wrong. He knew it almost immediately. Eight straight years of 1,000 yards to begin his career.
Macy getting hit there. He's running off the field right now. Could be. Never want to speculate on these, but if we did, go ahead, Tom.
It's funny when he rolled down.
I mean, he's shaking it like it's a funny bone. Like, I've done that where it's like you got, you know, something hit right on that bone. And it's like, you hope that's it if you're a Buccaneers fan.
Yeah, and
never know, though.
This is an incredible feat. And with that, Brady has set the single-season completion record as well, with 16 completions here today.
Breeze's record?
Keyshawn Vaughn, not much is there. He might have gotten a yard. Let's go to New York with JB and Coach.
James Conner with life.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's going to find James Conner here in the flat, and he'll make a guy miss, taking it from 20 yards out. They tie up Seattle 17-17, and the Rams and 49ers are also tied at 17.
And that is late in the third. Back to Tom McCarthy, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson.
All right, JB, we appreciate that. Arizona's had a solid year. A little bit of a speed bump like a lot of teams do as the season rolled on. 3rd down and 4.
Who was the speed bump to? New Orleans.
Yep.
And that's not going to happen.
Great, had to come back for that one. He just couldn't hang on.
And that's a big one right there, keeping Carolina in this, because I thought if Tampa goes down and scores and it gets to 24-7, you know, 4 or 5 minutes from now, it'd be 3 minutes to go. That could have been the last time Bruce Arians might have kept Brady in the game. He's scoreboard watching, Tracy said. You know, he's got a plan. I think the plan is if the Rams are going to win and they get ahead by a comfortable margin, Brady goes out, Mike Evans goes out, and then you get him out of that game.
Yeah, he knows that game's tied at 17 late in the 3rd quarter. Fair catch is called at the 32-yard line.
And if the Rams win, Tampa's locked in at 3, so there's no reason to go, and everyone's holding their breath, hoping Evans is okay.
Just when you thought football couldn't get any more fun, here comes Nickelodeon with an NFL wildcard game you can't miss. You won't experience football like this anywhere else. Check out the NFL wildcard game on Nickelodeon next Sunday at 4:30 Eastern. It's going to be wilder than ever. 10-point lead for the Buccaneers. Sam Darnold 14 of 21, 118 yards. Efficient his first drive. Since that drive, 69 yards in the air. Hubbard in the backfield, 6 carries, 31 yards. This is what Todd Bowles said, that Darnold is so tough as he finds DJ Moore. All right, so slime is going to be a big part of the wild card weekend. This is what you might see, something like this next week. Oh, look out, as Hubbard goes into the end zone. The only way they can find a helmet big enough. Would be great if
gosh. Somewhere my wife was very jealous that Nickelodeon got the slime meat, not her. That's going to be fun for the kids. My kids love that.
On second down, here's Anderson. Gets 1 yard on that. Robbie Anderson, who was part of a receiving corps last year, they had 4 different receivers who had 1,000 yards from scrimmage. It was the 5th time in the Super Bowl era that a team had that. They just haven't had the same kind of offense this year.
Yeah, they have the weapons. It just starts up front. Almost all the successful teams consistently have an offensive line or a quarterback, right? And it's like they kind of go hand in hand, though. It's the best seasons for all the good quarterbacks are when they have their best offensive, lines, and I think that's why they just can't keep it going.
Out of the backfield, Hubbard's got the first down.
And you talked about New Orleans last week, 9 for 9 for Sam Darnold starting the game. Today he starts off, really hot again, goes down, they score a touchdown. But as you watch it, it's not sustainable. It's too hard. Everything's too difficult. And you see, 31st, they're just so far back in so many numbers. That's just a quarter. You can just go through game after game, and that's where they have to find an identity, and then they have to go from there.
Yeah, the first quarter point differential, plus 45. From that quarter on, minus 121. Here's Hubbard, who's been a bright spot since Christian McCaffrey went down with his injury. Matt Rule said, we got him. We'd hand him the football. He gains 15 there. We hand him the football. He'd trip over his own feet. Then he would do some good things, and now he's evolving into a good back.
He is, and this is why you draft guys, right? For McCaffrey. Here's a big point that I think people, if you're the Carolina Panthers, McCaffrey's been hurt the last 2 years. Are you going to continue to plan as if he's going to be healthy all year? I think you got to plan as if he's not going to be, because when he's there, he's such a game wrecker, to defenses. But you got to draft him. You got to plan as if he's not going to be there, because really after 2 years, it's hurt them.
He's only played 10 games in his last 33. Darnold, middle of the field. What a catch by DJ Moore.
Well, you see the arm strength right there. He fires that in. And you'll see coming straight across the field right here, Moore. Ball's a hair high, but Moore goes up, climbs the ladder. What a catch. This ball was on a rope. Moore showing off that skill set they talked about.
Go! Straight years of 1,000 yards receiving for Moore. Darnold's in trouble. That'll just slide down. That'll technically go down as another sack. He had a lot of scrimmage, loss of a couple.
He hasn't been sacked the last couple of weeks, though. What do they have? 1, 2.
That was one of the easier ones, though, because the other.
You said it. We opened up. You're like 14 sacks in the last 2 games, and it's like, that's 7 of them against Tampa 2 weeks back.
Yep.
Tampa Bay now with 30 sacks in the last 9 games. Gets that one to Tremble as tight end out of bounds.
And you see how fast they have to throw all these throws. It's why you can start off games okay, let's say, but eventually they take away the underneath stuff, and you got to get the ball down the field. And that's why you saw more of that big play. That's a rarity.
Is that because you're away from the script, because you're an injured player, or is it just that teams adjust? Or is it both?
It's a great question. It's both. So the opening script is to be able to make life easy on a quarterback, so he doesn't have to stand under duress, fit it between 3 people, and so they're like, yeah, you don't have time to throw it deep, so they start to sit on you deep, So they start to sit on you.
Dean was the injured Tampa Bay player. There's 6 minutes to play in the third quarter.
Empty formation. 3rd and 6, down 10. Sam Darnold needs to feel something good going into the offseason. You're going to motion in. You got zone coverage. And all it means is he's blitzing.
JB and coach.
Arizona scoring twice within a minute.
Yeah, after Russ Wilson interception returned back inside the 10-yard line, James Conner takes it over, and now Arizona takes a 24-17 lead over Seattle.
Tom, Tony, and Tracy.
Well, what a huge boost to get James Conner back, even if it's for those kind of plays where they're right at the goal line.
Yeah, that's big. And that's a point earlier when Tracy talked about Cam Newton. Playing guys is what they're good at. It's kind of the secret in a lot of ways.
Here's Lahu for a 35-yard field goal attempt. And it's good. It's 17-10.
You worked all week on that name. What was it? Who made that kick?
Lahu.
Good.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Taco Bell and by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The city of Tampa has hosted the Super Bowl 5 times, 3 of them here at Raymond James Stadium. And the Buccaneers won it last year. Getting a chance to be the home team in so many levels.
Yeah, in that first game, then obviously if the Rams could get the 2, this has a lot to play out. They'd have to go on the road.
What a burst. Darden has some daylight out of bounds. All right, let's take a look at Next Gen Stats powered by AWS.
Well, you took us into Next Gen Stats. Tom Brady, time to throw in the first half. First 3 drives, 2.85 seconds. Last drive, right here, 2.41. And when he gets that ball out quickly right there, 1.85, a lot of good things happen. That's why you don't want to pressure Brady all the time like they did on that play with Evans. You want to pretend like you're pressuring him and drop people out. And that's what the Saints do, you know. They don't even pretend sometimes. They just say, we're not pressuring. Good luck.
Well, 472 completions. By the way, Mike Evans is back in, and the first pass goes to Evans right at the first down marker. All right, so this is what the skill players have missed this year. How is this going to affect them in the playoffs, having guys that are banged up or guys that aren't going to be able to come back, like Brown, obviously, and Godwin?
It's huge because you're losing him and him. That's 9 touchdowns. I mean, that's 100 receptions almost for Godwin, and over 1,000 yards. See the quick pass out. Perriman's going to play a huge role. I'm saying Perriman's going to have that, you know, Scotty Miller, that touchdown against the Packers in the AFC Championship game at the end of the half. I think Perriman, Scotty Miller, they're going to have to be important in this run. Let's see a player down. But here's what's going to happen going forward. Teams are now, before this, you couldn't just double team 1 or 2 guys because all of a sudden it's like, okay, double team Antonio and Gronkowski. Well, now it's Evans and God. Now it's each game is different. Well, early in this game, Carolina had success because they just doubled Evans and Gronk, and they said, make other people beat us, and no one was really doing that. And that's why I was a hair concerned, because teams are going to start to do it every game from this point on.
Keith Taylor just gave a thumbs up on the sideline, so it looks like he's okay. He was the injured Panthers player. Second down and 6. Under 4 minutes to play, third quarter. Vaughn in the backfield next to Brady.
Well, you send the motion to see who's blitzing and not. So they pretended to drop back. Brady's now going to decide. Are they coming or are they going back? Then he calls his play, signals to someone, snap.
Has time, Vaughn out of the backfield. Little stiff arm, dives forward for the first down. What do you got, Trace?
Well, definite injury concerns for the Bucs going into the playoffs. We talked about it at the top of the game. No Leonard Fournette. He was running in practice. practice this week, so that's a good sign. They hope to have him back. Ronald Jones still out. Levante David, Shaquille Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, all expected to return. Jamel Dean right now dealing with a hamstring injury, though. He is questionable, so a lot to keep an eye on for these Bucs and these injuries.
Yeah, they're hoping, as Tracy said, to have all those defensive players back. They also think that maybe Giovanni Bernard, who was back at practice this week, could be an asset at some point as Perryman is shuttled out of bounds.
Yeah. I really think that's a big one as well, because, I mean, this week you don't got Fournette or Jones. I mean, offensively, I know everyone's coming back next week on defense. I mean, you're without Godwin, you're without Brown, you're without Grayson, who got the hamstring today.
Right.
I mean, that's 30% of their team's production right there. You know, 150 receptions, 1,800 yards, 11 touchdowns with those three, and they're probably not likely to play next week. And it's like, where are you going to go get this from? And that production's got to go somewhere else. And someone's going to have to win some big-time one-on-one battles against some really good football teams.
You know, we talked to Tom about the younger players as there's a timeout on the field as they are going to bring out the chains. Talked to Tom about that, and he said that it all began at the beginning of the year in preseason, in the room, talking to some of the players and watching what they're doing as they are very close to the first down, inches. All right, so this is what's at stake for Tampa. Number 2 seed with the win and a Rams loss. San Francisco and the Rams are tied at 17 in the fourth quarter. And a number 4 seed with the loss and losses by the Rams and Arizona. All the scenarios equal a number 3 seed, but they'd love to get the number 2 seed and have a couple of home games.
Yeah, they would love that. Arizona's winning right now, 24-17.
Hey, he's the mic.
You just need to go out here and do your job. This is one of those sneaky drives that keeps coming up where they go down and score a touchdown. It gets very difficult against this defense to come back on the road.
They headed off the ball, and Vaughn's got the first down. Stood up by Shaq Thompson, but he got a few yards past.
And this is why the seeding is so big to me for a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. When you got young guys, and you got guys who haven't been in all year, Tom communicates a bunch, and sometimes it's just a look. Sometimes it's a subtle little hand gesture that's low, just pointing a finger when his hand's just resting right there. He'll look at someone. At home, it's so much easier to get these younger guys and these newer players on that nuance page, that next level. On the road, he can't do that. They have not had enough time in to really go there.
Blitz is coming. He eludes it. Lofts it to the far side, and it's out of bounds. Let's go to New York for an update. JB and Coach.
New Orleans still on the picture, but Atlanta gets it done here.
Yeah, Quandre Allison takes this 19 yards out and cuts the lead. New Orleans lead 24-13. San Francisco and the Rams are still tied at 17. The New Orleans needs a Rams loss to get into the playoffs.
That's the coach we know. Back to Todd.
All right, JB, thank you. Le'Veon Bell stays in the ball game on 2nd down and 10. Off the incomplete pass.
Now watch him. See, 7's the mic. Now he's telling Bell who to block as he missed it on the last one.
So the reminder that he missed it on the last one. Johnson close to a first down, a gain of 7.
So Brady is going to go ahead and tell everyone what to do. Get on the ball, and you're going to see him point. Hey, you're here. 7's the mic, and then Bell's going to ask him a question. Okay, you go over there and block him. New guy go over there, here he comes, and Bell goes over and blocks him. Does the same thing on this one.
Well, Le'Veon's certainly a seasoned veteran, but this is a new system for him. Gronk out of bounds inside the 10-yard line to the 7. Gronkowski had 88 yards prior to that pass play. It's a gain of 14 that puts him over 100 for the 32nd time in his career.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be. This is what's going to happen in the playoffs. Tom is going to go to him. He's going to look over here. Does this safety help on Mike Evans? Yes. Then I'm going to Gronk.
On first down, he's able to go to Vaughn, and Vaughn inside the 5. Shaq Thompson takes him down.
So what you do down here is right there, Mike Evans. Take those 2 guys and throw the guy underneath. So there it's Vaughn. Different time, someone else will come.
Well, clock management, they certainly have had that down. It's the end of the third quarter, 7-point lead for the Buccaneers. Welcome back to Raymond James Stadium here in Tampa. Along with Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson, I'm Tom McCarthy. Tom Brady with 5,241 yards this season. He has 251 today. Peyton Manning's the all-time leader. Now, this is an extra game. We know that. But the NFL is acknowledging that it's still a record if you're able to pass it.
Well, yeah, because otherwise they're going to say forever. What is that, 20 years from now? They're going to be like, okay, now we'll do it. So they have to. It's just part of the game.
Second and goal. That's Vaughn, who just shifted in the backfield. Brady toward the end zone. Mike Evans has got it. Touchdown, Tampa.
What a great job. Evans, he's going to go in, up, and then you see that burst where a guy his size just getting Hartsfield to get out of there. But watch right here. What you do is you let him go up and you use his momentum and see where he is. So it's an option route. He can go either way, and Hartsfield's in a bind with a guy like Evans, and that's where the pressure needs to get home, and they couldn't do it.
And they also chewed up more time off this clock. They look so efficient since that opening quarter. This point after is good by Suckup. 24-10, Tampa on top. 75 career touchdown receptions for Mike Evans.
Yeah, he's quite the talented player. Give us some early headlines.
All right, some early headlines for the National Football League. Jacksonville led from the outset. Indianapolis eliminated from the playoffs as the Jags shocked the Colts. But that wasn't the only surprising thing. These games were close. The Titans, the game got close, but they outlast the Texans. They clinched the #1 overall seed in the AFC. And then T.J. Watt. Not only did Pittsburgh keep themselves in line for postseason, but Watt tied the sack record that Michael Stray had established so long ago.
I didn't know that. There's a nugget I didn't have. That's impressive. Wow.
All right, so this is the playoff
He's
picture.
deserving. He's unbelievable, Watt. Look at this.
His machine goes at all times.
So let's go right here. This is a tie game right now in San Francisco and the Rams. But if New Orleans gets in, all of a sudden, I mean, it's just crazy how this day is going to end on both sides. The Colts, I thought the Colts were locked in for 3 weeks.
Abdullah with a great return up to the 45-yard line.
And now it's like, oh my goodness, what just happened? But no one expected them to go and lose to Jacksonville, because that was a playoff game really in all essence for the Colts, and just they did not perform.
All right, so the AFC playoff picture, we've mentioned that Tennessee, the top seed, with a 12-5 record, Kansas City #2. Buffalo leading the Jets as we speak, New England trailing Miami.
Yeah, New England might get to 10-7. If Vegas wins and New England loses, that puts Vegas at 5, New England at 6.
Still a lot to be decided. Darnold has more. And Moore gets 8.
If the Chargers were to win tonight then, and this is all if New England were to lose, then the New England stays at 5 and the Chargers are 6.
Well, from a numbers standpoint, there's obviously so much landscape-wise that's still left to play for. You know, for Tampa, trying to get that 2 seed is so important. Just to have a couple of weeks off.
And this is why, as a player, as a coach and everything, you don't even. This is endless to talk about. So I was like, we're just going to go in there and win a football game. When we get done, we'll tell you who we're playing. Come in tomorrow morning. Here's who we got. Let's get to work and go win a playoff game. And that's the approach you have to take, because you don't go in there telling your team, all right, we're going to take you out. Like, if the Rams were ahead, Bruce Arians knows this, if they were ahead by 20 points right now, he would probably take out a lot of his players to protect them. We feel good, everyone played, but we're trying to go for the win so we can move up a seed from 3 to 2. But if they're going to win and it's over, then I'm going to get my guys out, give them some rest and everything. But it's not over, and so they have to keep playing. But you can't tell them that going in. You say, we're playing this game to win. I'll tell you guys if anything changes.
First down for the 45. Darnold underneath to Abdullah. Let's check in with Tracy.
Tom and Tony, you guys were talking about how much longer Tom Brady will play in this one. Well, I just saw Bruce Arians. He came over to the bench. He talked to Tom Brady. He said one more series. So expect him to go. Expect him to go back out there. You wonder, Mike Evans, he got his record. Gronk got his record, although $500,000 still on the line. You wonder if that's a thought.
You saw Blaine Gabbert.
Question. It's
Gabbert got up almost immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Go.
On second down and 5, Abdullah's had a nice day today. Abdullah inside the 30. Look at this reaction, folks.
So here you go. Hey, Tom, I want to take you out. Don't take me out. Out? Don't take me out. You know what he's told him? He actually told him, the Rams are tied. We might get the 2 seed. That's what he just told him. And that's when he goes, wow. So now he's asking these guys, so what's the score? So that's why he's keeping them in the game. Go. If they get a stop, a turnover, if it's way down there, maybe not. But you keep him in right now because the Rams are tied. Wasn't that an interesting face?
It was.
Tom, how about the head coach going over to tell him? He doesn't want anyone else. That's when you know you're a superstar. Hey, let me go tell Tom. I want to go tell him. Hey, Tom, the Rams are tied. Ooh. What's the score?
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert, who's next to him, hasn't started. He's stretching just a little bit, just trying to keep his legs loose.
51! That looks like a stretch I do, but that's a workout for me now at this point. Lifted some weights today. Really looked like a hamstring. Yeah, pretty much simple.
On second down, Darnold in the pocket, has time, trying to sprint away on the run. And his pass is complete to DJ Moore. So that is where Todd Bowles said that Sam Darnold, he thinks, is at his best, which is interesting. It's a gain of 6.
Yeah, and Todd does a great job not letting, quarterbacks roll right. Sam throws a really good ball, keeping his receiver in bounds, momentum there. But Todd Bowles right there is one of the best coaches in general in the National Football League. Easily one of the best defense coaches, but one of the best coaches overall. He's done unbelievable. I mean, the injuries in the secondary, Carolina's had it. Well, Tampa had it equally as bad throughout the season. And for them to get healthy at the end, you're going to see a lot of Todd Bowles cool stuff in the playoffs.
Third down and 4. For the end zone, and DJ Moore can't hang on from the tipped pass from Sullivan. Stephon Sullivan tipped it, and it went in and out of hands of Moore, who looks like he's hurt.
This was almost an incredible catch. Oh, wow. I'm really impressed with Moore. We haven't done a Carolina game this year, and just coming out here and seeing him, he does all the little things. He's a football player. He's a very underrated player.
Big time.
But you can see his all-around ability.
Yeah, we mentioned that before, that Sam Darnold said that that's the big thing, is that people on the national scope don't get a chance to see him.
Yeah,
I don't know if Sullivan didn't run the right route or not. It's his first game after being on a scout team.
That's usually what happens. You get out there, and a lot of the time what you're trying to practice is just getting everyone to run a certain route, and obviously Sullivan took his way too deep. But the other part is you're going to be on top of him. Watch these two. He's supposed to flatten that off right there. Sullivan doesn't quite understand that yet. You got a guy behind you. The reason you don't is because you don't know where the other guy is, right?
So that was to Moore.
Yes,
and
that was
Sullivan. That
was probably to Moore.
I would think it would be.
I think it was to Sullivan, if I'm being honest.
Oh, really? 7 catches, 87 yards for DJ Moore. And he heads off. Fourth-year pro out of Maryland. 4th in franchise history in yards, receiving yards. All right, here we go. 4th down. Going for it. Why not? Final game of the season. Down 24-10.
I think if you don't get this, you are done your season after this game. Go.
Darnold's lofting it toward the end zone, and it's caught! Robbie Anderson makes the reception. What a grab. He was being held the whole time. It's a 19-yard touchdown pass from Sam Darnold.
Pressure's coming from the right, and this is why I think Sam Darnold has some rare ability. He makes throws like this, and Murphy Bunting plays great defense, but Anderson with the all-world catch. Willie Mays style over the shoulder, and that is in, keeping Carolina in the game.
Well, both Brady and Darnold now 24 of 32 with a couple of touchdowns. Sam Darnold has to feel good about that.
I mean, this is a great game I feel like he's playing, and he's doing it under incredible pressure.
His shoulder's being held the entire time. He has it. Yep, kept his feet in. Whew. They are looking at it. All scoring plays are reviewed. Control, both feet in. Yeah, it looked like right there he had the final control as his foot. Oh, this is a great view. Pylon cam taking a look. And they do rule it is a score.
That pylon cam guy for us, he's got it a few times.
Hairulahu with the point after. It's a 7-point game. 10.5 to play here in the fourth quarter. The Bucs and the Panthers. Well, pretty even between these two. Darnold's had a solid day, 24 of 32, 207 yards. Brady, after the first quarter, has been excellent. Also 24 of 32, 255 yards. Carolina will kick it off. Hairulahu boots it. Darted back deep to receive over his head and out of the back of the end zone. Let's check in with Tracy.
Well, Tom, this week, both Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles interviewed for the Jaguars opening. Bowles on Monday, Leftwich on Friday. And Bowles told us there is no competition between the two of them. He gave Leftwich pointers and shared tips on what the Jags asked. He said as the older statesman, he'd be the happiest man in the world if he could help get Byron Leftwich a job. As for Bruce Arians, he said they both deserve the opportunities. He's pulling for both of them.
It was a very moving statement by Todd Bowles. It really was. Tom Brady's had just 4 coordinators in his career: Charlie Weiss, Josh McDaniels, Bill O'Brien, and Byron Leftwich. Bill O'Brien also rumored to be interviewed this week for that job in Jacksonville. Gronk well over 100 yards now. As they tabulate those numbers, we'll go to New York for an update.
How valuable is Cooper Kupp?
And Matthew Stafford will find him in the back of the end zone from 4 yards out. Cooper Kupp, 7 catches, 118 yards on the day. Matthew Stafford, 3 touchdowns. They lead 24-17 over San Francisco. NFC West title at stake. 2:29 to go in the fourth quarter.
Tom McCarthy.
That's really impressive. We saw that catch. It was a fantastic grab. And how about Gronkowski? 130 yards. 32 times in his career as a tight end. He's gone over 100 yards. It's a new NFL record. He was tied with Tony Gonzalez. Le'Veon Bell down to the 40-yard line.
A couple of big-time legends right there you're talking about. And Gronk is just, he's like a man amongst boys sometimes out there. His size is so big that he's covered, he's not. And then his just instincts with Brady. It's really difficult to handle for any team, and today Carter, number 4, has gotten lost in there once or twice. A couple other guys a couple other times.
Brady, Perryman trying to get that first down. He's got it.
This is the guy I keep saying. Perryman is the weapon that's got to start to come up big. Oh no! As soon as I say that. Looking down the field, comes off, but Perryman keeps showing up when I watch this. Like he's in the right spot. He's got good hands, and all of a sudden he makes something happen. It's like, I think Brady's going to like that. We're going to see, though. He's still down. Hard to tell there. Going back to the coaches, Leftwich deserves the great opportunities. He's getting up here. That's a good sign for the Bucs. Definitely Leftwich. I mean, he's younger, right? But I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities just going through this process really for the first few times. But what Todd Bowles did talking about that is super genuine, saying, I want to help him get a job. That would be great. Of course I want to, but as the elder statesman, and he means it. I've been around Todd Bowles. This is a really smart, giving man, and he's really good at the nuance to the game. And Leftwich, having been around Arians, Brady, he's going to be such a gift for some team. Whether it's this year or next, I just think, what a coaching staff Bruce Arians has gotten here.
You saw that reaction from Leftwich. Here's Scotty Miller filling in. Let's check for another update in New York.
Seattle making it rough on Arizona.
How about Russell Wilson doing his little right there? Then he get out of here, and then he goes score a touchdown, put my head down. Boom, Seattle takes the lead over Arizona, 31-24.
Tom, Tony, and Tracy.
Well, this is exactly what the National Football League wanted. These games to be so tight, coming down to the wire. First down for Le'Veon Bell. By the way, that last pass to Miller puts Tom Brady right at 300 yards. It's his 9th 300-yard game in the season, which now leads the National Football League. Herbert has 8. He's amazing at 44.
Yes. Talking about the 44-year-old and the 12-year-old. Herbert's just a young guy who's got all-world talent as well.
Walks it toward the end zone. Evans again. Touchdown, Tampa.
And that'll be the end for Tom Brady in 2021. 22. It's not the end of 22 then. It's the end of the season. And Mike Evans with a great route. Gets his hands on you and gives you a little nudge. Taylor right there. And then he uses that burst length. Tom just throws it nice and high so he can see it up in the lights. These two they're going to make life miserable. And Gronk working really hard over there. Ball's in the air. He hasn't moved an inch. It's been 5 minutes since he scored.
Now somebody needed to signal it. That's a 20-yard touchdown pass. 6 plays, 75 yards. And now the point after by Suckup. Your chance of MVP in the background.
I'm not even playing.
Yep. 43 touchdown passes, over 5,000 yards.
I think it's him or Rodgers, and I think you can't go wrong. But right now, this is Tom Brady's house, and it's going to be hard to beat him here.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. You could save even more by bundling home and car insurance. AWS. AWS is how the NFL can stat that. And by Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Well, back here in Tampa, where the Buccaneers have just scored their 14th point in this fourth quarter. Tom Brady may be done. We don't know. 24 of 30 or 28 of 36, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. Bruce Arians is making his way over. Looked like he may have been saying something to Blaine Gabbert. The kickoff is over the head of Abdullah. All right, players age 43 and older. Touchdown passes. I don't think it's close, Tony. Tom Brady, 83. George Blanda, 12. Vinny Testaverde, 6. Steve DeBerg, Warren Moon. So they have 22 combined.
I'm still doing the math. Hold on, I'll tell you it's close. Okay, you're right. You got it.
It is amazing.
Right when you think he's
45.
How many times do you go back? People thought he was slowing down or getting, and I'm always like, it's just because their team's not as good. Put him on a decent team, and all of a sudden it's like, no, he's still the same.
He did get a chuckle when we did say to him this week that he accomplished something this year that he hadn't accomplished with the Patriots, and that was for the first time he swept his old division in a season. He laughed at that.
That is funny.
As the clock winds, 7:20 to play and counting. Darnold, 25 of 33, 211 yards.
Played great today. As much as you could do. It's where environments matter, situation you're in. You only do so much with it.
Abdullah goes over 25 yards on the ground, but he's also caught 6 passes for 54 yards. Carolina will have many decisions. You know, there was the reports this week about whether they'd be open to trading Christian McCaffrey, even though he's banged up. Matt Rule knows that when he's healthy, he is a huge weapon for this organization.
Yeah, it's like... it's in your best interest right now to get guys up front and everything, because if he gets healthy and you get people, wow, and just these mistakes here. Botched snap.
They lost the football, and it's picked up by the Buccaneers.
That's the difference between championship-style teams and Carolina right here.
Antoine Winfield, who had the foot injury against Buffalo, came back with 8 tackles last week against the Jets. He picks it up.
And here comes the row your boat.
Little
gently down.
Hawaii 5-0.
The Hawaii 5-0. Let's see what happened. Oh. So the snap is off. And this is where RPOs get in trouble. Because you know if it's a handoff, the running back's not going to keep going. He's going to slow down and stop. And if it's a pass, you know he's not going to try and hand it off. But when you could do either, the running back's like, okay, I'm not taking it. You're not taking me out. Let's see who has more power, Brady or Arians. Who's in the game?
I think Brady's in there.
Oh, that was a close call.
Hey, give credit to Raheem Nunez-Roches. He's the one who knocked it loose. Whitfield picked it up.
Well, they're trying to get Gronk his 50 grand, or what was it?
Try to earn him some money. Let's go to an update, New York.
New England down by 10.
Yeah, Mac Jones is going to find Brandon Bolden right there. 18 yards out. They're going to cut that lead to 10. Miami 27, New England 17.
Back to Todd.
Well, JB, that's kind of dicey there. And Tom Brady's been pulled from the game.
That's what it was. They wanted to get him. It was what? Tracy had talked about it. How much was it?
It was $500 million.
I would have came out from up here. I mean,
$1 million total, 7 receptions for Gronk. The handoff goes to Kenyon Barner.
I think that is pretty cool, though. And how about Brady? Just seriously, I'll just get you past 100%. Like, who can just go out on the field and be like 100%? This is going to get you open, and it'll be easy, and everyone will be fun. It's like teams are struggling just to get 4 yards sometimes.
You know, you guys talked to him a couple weeks ago. He said, now, when I came back this time, he said, I learned the playbook all the time. So there's no thinking involved. This is Gronkowski. He said, I'm a better receiving tight end at this age because I'm doing things to control my body, to make sure I bounce back well. To the end zone, incomplete, as Gabbert was looking for Darden.
Yeah, that's ball just a little bit far, but the receiver got too wide. But that's a good point. Gronk's the one guy, as everyone else loses speed, it's like Gronk never was the fast guy. He's the size guy, but now he's done a great job keeping his body in shape and like staying in a position to keep playing. And he's just smarter about the game. He knows the nuance to it. He knows when to break, how long he has before he has to get out of something, even if someone's hitting him at the line of scrimmage, and it shows.
40-yard field goal attempt for Ryan Suckup. Good snap, good hold. Kick is on its way, and it is good. 34-17. Tampa taking care of Carolina and also taking care of a number of individual records as well. Not only for Brady, but also for Gronkowski, for Evans getting to 1,000 yards.
For Tom McCarthy being able to talk about him longer. Another record.
This guy, Evans, is able to do so many different things. He's fast, he's big.
You're right. I mean, just the size and height of these guys, Gronk and him, it makes it so even when they're covered, you're not covered when Brady's throwing you the ball.
The NFL playoffs are here, and it all kicks off with Super Wildcard Weekend. Action gets started with a Saturday doubleheader followed by a Sunday tripleheader. And for the first time ever, a Monday wildcard. 3 days, 6 games, one epic weekend. The road to Super Bowl 56 starts here. By the way, Gronkowski, 137 yards receiving in this ball game, the most since 2017 for him. Pinions kickoff. Abdullah will let it bounce into the end zone.
And for those of you coming over from the Niners and Rams game, it is tied now. Late in the game. All right, if they kick the extra point, the Niners scored.
You can't slight the extra point at this point. All right, so Darnold, 5:04 to play. You know, we keep talking about this is a good day for him. 25 of 33, 211 yards. Had a couple of touchdowns. He had not had a rushing or passing touchdown since week 6, so he's gotten the ball into the end zone. First down to Abdullah out of the backfield. And he gets a few yards. Let's go for an update, New York, on San Francisco and L.A.
Niners' hopes are still alive.
How about Jimmy Garoppolo in his 1-minute drive, 88 yards in less than a minute to Jawan Jennings. Right there, his second touchdown of the day from 14 yards out. Tie it up, 24-24, 26 seconds left in the game.
Back to Tom McCarthy.
You know, I'll tell you, you think about these games, the early games, the late games. I mean, this has been as good a day in the National Football League in the final game, or the final day. 3rd down and 7. By the way, we're talking about Sam Darnold. I mean, you were a really successful quarterback. You know what it takes. Do they keep him going into the 2022 season? Or is that a position they have to look for?
I would give him another year for sure. I think that it's just ridiculous to think someone can be really successful when I'm watching, you know, week in, week out. Like the system right now doesn't have, you know, there's nothing that hangs its hat on, right? There's no advantage that I'm seeing left and right. And nobody blocks anyone. I mean, he's getting pressured. Someone's going to be that, throw it away, at that 4-yard, 5-yard, 6-yard spot right in front of him within a second or two. And I just don't think there's many quarterbacks. And the only way to help that would be a great screen game, play action game that marries it, running the football, you know, things that they're not really great at in any capacity. But I think if you go ahead, you know, you're always looking for flashes, potential, right? You can coach people out of mistakes and stuff. You can't really coach them to do things and see things faster. And he sees them plenty quick enough. He's always having to play at turbo speed.
And I know you've talked about this. Sometimes he sees it too quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, they gave up a 6th, a 2nd, and a 4th for him. You got to give him another year.
DJ Moore, by the way, is back in the ball game for Carolina. Anderson has it up to the 34. It'll be Tampa Bay ball, as that was 4th down. So they'll give the ball back to the Buccaneers with 4:17 to play. Tampa Bay, their 3rd 4th down stop of the day. All right, so the NFC playoff picture looks like this right now. Green Bay, of course, is the top seed. If LA wins over San Francisco and that game's tied, they'd be the 2 seed. Tampa would be the 3 seed. But if Tampa wins and San Francisco winds up beating LA, then that's where Tampa moves into the number 2 seed going into the postseason. And that would be, as we've talked about, so important.
Yeah, and Rams go ahead and win that game, let's say. Tampa then, I think they're playing Philly. So it'll be Tampa, Philly.
It does look that way.
Yeah, the Saints win. Saints end up being the 7th seed. And New Orleans is going to win 30-13.
Here's Miller. He's got great speed along the sidelines to the end zone. Did he go out of bounds? No. Touchdown, Tampa.
And this is that guy you saw, Scotty Miller and Perriman are going to be the guys that are going to randomly have to do something. We talked about Perriman earlier. Look at how happy Brady is for him. Just a simple reverse action. You see Brake get out there, and oh my goodness.
How about Hainsey?
Yeah, 3rd round pick this year. Backup center. Notre Dame guy. He's got like 50 offensive linemen in the NFL who are good.
For Miller, it's his first touchdown of the year, 33 yards. Yeah, the Buccaneers on top 40-17. Scotty Miller was such a big part of last year's run to the Super Bowl. And he does a lot of good things, there's no doubt. Hasn't been utilized as much this year.
And simply because he had all-world talent ahead of him. But his time, it's coming. It's about that time of year, right?
Yes.
Guys like that.
Suckup's point after is good, and it really is a blink of an eye. Tampa now up 41-17. First quarter, they had no points, 3 total yards. Since that time, 41 points and 395 yards. So if Bruce Arians is scoreboard watching, and he did admit to us that he does, he'll know that the San Francisco-LA game is going into overtime. So there's 4:07 left here.
Well, now you pull all your guys, obviously. You probably did before then. You saw that on the offense. But even defensively, I would do the same thing. Getting a lot of guys back. The champs are actually getting at their healthiest going into the playoffs. It's going to be tougher this year, though. Remember, when they went on the road last year? No fans.
No fans. That is true.
Far more difficult when they're screaming and you can't tell that guy, hey, go block him over there. Gronk, come over here.
Well, Tom Brady is hoping that he'll get a chance to win back-to-back Super Bowls. He knows the feeling. He knows what it's like. Like a lot of us who are his age and even a little older, you might have forgotten what happened back in 2002, 2003. But back-to-back Super Bowl champions. We're in the longest drought right now in NFL history. So the Packers did it 66-67. They were so good, obviously. The unbeaten Dolphins did it 72-73. The Steelers teams, they were not only good for 2 years, they were good for a lot of years.
Yeah.
They did it twice. Of course, Jimmy Johnson and the Dallas Cowboys did it against the Buffalo Bills. The Broncos with John Elway, and then, of course, 03-04, Tom Brady with the Patriots.
And, you know, the biggest thing is just the free agency and salary cap. All these things started coming in. And when that started taking shape, it's far more difficult because of that. Because you lose so many people now, whereas you didn't lose, you know, near the numbers. I mean, you start over. It's impressive what, you know, the Buccaneers did this season, bringing all these guys back.
Darnold on first down, and he's intercepted. It's the first turnover, or second turnover of the day. As the Buccaneers are able to force the interception, it's Andrew Adams, one of the backup safeties.
Well, this one's actually on Robbie Anderson. Can't blame Darnold here. It's just a throw right to him. But Anderson is really in a spot where he's supposed to come inside. Go ahead and hit play and pause it. Go ahead and hit that. Pause it right now. So you're going to see right here, Robbie Anderson. He's going to go up and he should take off toward the middle, but you're going to see him give a little fake. Go ahead and play that and then go straight up the field. And if he actually turns that in like he's supposed to, the ball would have hit him. That's a timing route. And it looks pretty silly. Well, throw it to a guy standing.
Big time. 11th different Buck with an interception this year. What did Todd Bowles say to us after the Jets game? He said we played so poorly defensively.
Yeah, last week, yep.
That it gave me a chance and gave my staff a chance to coach this team up and refocus them.
Well, think about it. If you're a champion and you're really good and you're a veteran or something, Todd Bowles knows. He's like, listen, I'm gonna treat you like men, and we're gonna go ahead and coach you the maturity level that you're at. And so these guys handle things well. They play hard. They're disciplined. They're fundamentally sound. That means that's a good coach, right? Last week they didn't do that. So he went back to the drawing board, fundamentals, and got on them. And they needed it, and it showed, and all of a sudden they show up.
And here's Miller again. The receiver using his legs. Let's go to New York for an update. New England and Miami.
New England has narrowed the gap to 3.
They sure have, JB. Damian Harris from 1 yard out is going to cut that Miami lead to 27-24, even though Buffalo's taking care of business.
2:53 left in regulation, Tom McCarthy.
Well, you know that when they go down to Miami, at least recently, they've been tough games for the Patriots.
Yeah, that even when Brady was there all the years, it's never been something that was an easy one. They always were grinding away, trying to figure that one out. See it happening again.
Gronk was part of some of those on the Miracle of Miami, where he missed the tackle when he was with the Patriots. Buccaneers hand the ball off to Barner. It'll be second down and 10. There's Robbie Anderson.
Gronk played in New England. Brady took away 2 of their best players over the last couple of years, and all of a sudden they go somewhere else. They're great. They're still plugging along.
Still plugging along.
Easy. Jaguar. 38 spike. Jaguar. 28 blood. Here we go.
Gabbert takes the snap, hands it off to Barter. Running right. And he gets a couple. That'll take us down toward the 2-minute warning. It'll be 3rd down for the Buccaneers. On top 41-17. Wasn't a pretty first quarter for Tampa, but since that time, it's been all Buccaneers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Sonic. This is how we Sonic. And by Verizon, the official 5G network of the NFL.
Well, back here in Tampa, it's 3rd down for the Buccaneers. 2 minutes left to play in the 4th quarter. The Bucs try to ice this game on top 41-17. 3rd down to 9.
Huge play here, Tampa fans. You want to know who you're playing next week?
Hurry, go.
Leaving him hanging there. Here's Gabbert on 3rd down. It's tipped at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and a report on the American job market and the difficult job of NFL kickers, followed by a new episode of The Equalizer, plus 2 episodes of NCIS Los Angeles and SWAT. Tonight on CBS. All right, so do you think you have it down on who they're playing?
Yes, it's already set.
You're totally
After
sure.
a ton of stuff going on in my brain. Tampa Bay's playing against the Philadelphia Eagles next week. No matter what happens in that San Francisco Rams game.
Here's the 46-yard field goal attempt by Suckup, who slipped, and it's going to be short. And it remains 41-17. The cannon went off, and it probably shouldn't have, and whoop.
Whoop, I heard you there. That was good. Our great statistician, Ethan, coming up with Tampa Bay, playing against the Eagles. Good job getting that to everyone quickly, Ethan.
Well, San Francisco and Los Angeles currently at overtime. There's less than 6 minutes left to play in that game.
Well, if San Francisco wins, that puts Tampa, because that's against the Rams. So that means Tampa goes to the 2 seed. Philadelphia is the 7 seed, so they would go against them. And if San Francisco loses, that means the Rams win. That means that Tampa Bay's the 3 seed, and they play Philly.
Darnold dumps it off to Abdullah. So a couple of things that Bruce Arians wanted to do. He wanted to make sure that the defense shored up. I think they did, even with all the injuries. I mean, they 17 points for Carolina, but he and Todd Bowles both wanted the defense to tighten things up. But he also wanted Tom Brady to be able to get used to some of the receivers. And I know that Grayson went down with an injury earlier, but he was able to find different pieces.
Well, that's the biggest thing, right? So Grayson's a guy that you saw have that game-winning touchdown last week in the seam in between the safety and corner, but not a ton of time playing football in general. And I know he's been around a little bit, but he's been here for a couple of years, and they really like him. But that experience is really more falling under Perriman and Scotty Miller in real time. And so for me, with Grayson going down with that hamstring, that might not kill him because the other guys have more experience.
3rd down and 15. Darnold goes underneath Abdullah. As we wind down toward a minute to play. All right, so with everything said, with the Antonio Brown situation, with Godwin being out with the knee injury and having surgery this past week, can Bruce Arians and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, can they repeat?
Absolutely. Their quarterback is the one guy who has done it in the National Football League right now. So is it going to happen? It's going to be hard, but all I can tell you.
Darnold going long, and it's incomplete.
If you have Tom Brady, you have a chance to do anything, and I'll say they're going to have a home game against Philly next week, it looks like, if Ethan is right, our statistician, which he says he is.
You're laying it all on Ethan.
100%. He told me it's 100%. But he's going to go ahead in that game. Let's say it's going to be a nice battle, but if they win that game, now all of a sudden you're either going to the Rams or you're playing at home, whoever the seeding comes out to. It's going to be tough. But Tom Brady's going to be in the building in a playoff game going against you, and you're on the other side. It's hard to beat him. Now you bring in this defense. You bring in the talent they have. This is a really difficult team to beat in Tampa.
No doubt.
But there is a team, Green Bay. You got to go up there if they keep winning, and that's quite the challenge as well.
Well, Tom certainly pointed that out.
And tougher this year because they'll have a full stadium.
Well, for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what's been an abnormal week with everything going on with Antonio Brown ends in normal fashion with a 41-17 victory over the Carolina Panthers. Bruce Arians' team sets a franchise record for wins in a season with today's victory. Said it was so important to get the division crown. That was their goal going into this season, was to win the division. They did that. First time in 14 years. And now their thought is, can we repeat? For the moment, as it stands, they'll sit in the number 2 spot in the NFC. Obviously, the Rams and 49ers game is continuing on. Tampa Bay wins it today. 41-17 for Tony, Tracy, and Gene Steratore. This is Tom McCarthy saying so long from Tampa. Now it's time for bonus coverage. Let's go to James Brown and all the guys up in New York City.